So today we're going to be reading a book called Famous First Ladies. Before we get started, we're going to write down some of our vocabulary words that we're going to see throughout our book. Okay? So, has anyone ever heard of the word assassinated? Assassinated or assassination, Jack?
It means like you're really good at some stuff.
Okay, what else do you think, Kira?
Like someone breaks into your house, assassinates someone, like takes them, and wants to kill them.
Okay, that's a really good, that's more on the idea. What it means is like, have you ever heard of someone being assassinated, like one of our presidents in the past being assassinated? It means that what happens is someone famous is murdered. So that murdered, what's murdered mean?
Taken away and killed.
Yep, killed for political reasons. Do you know what political is? Like politics, like the presidents, they have politics that they deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So assassinated. So let's write down that word because we're going to come across that word today in our book. So assassinated. Can we all see that? Assassinated. Good. Okay. What about the word discrimination? We talked a lot about discriminating when we talked about Martin Luther King earlier this year. Do we remember what discrimination means? He was discriminated against. So what would discrimination mean, Jack?
Like he would talk out of something and people didn't like that and they would use violence.
How did they treat him? Yeah, they used violence. So discrimination means that there's bias or people don't like a certain group of people or a kind of person for no reason, just because they certainly don't like them, maybe because of their skin color, maybe because of what they believe, because that's what happened to Martin Luther, right? Martin Luther King Jr.? Yeah. So it's bias in the treatment of a person or a certain group of people. So let's write discrimination. So how could you use the word discrimination in a sentence?
Are we supposed to have like all the words?
No, if you don't have room, you can just write one at a time, and that's fine. Shun. That's a chunk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a D or an A?
Discrimination.
That's what
Atta girl. That is a long word.
T-I-O-N.
Shun, yep. Good. What about the word immunizations? Immunizations. Have you ever gone to the doctor before when you were little and you had to get shots? And you had to keep getting shots and your mom would be like, today we have to go to the doctor to get shots. I'm really sorry, but we have to keep getting our immunizations. Because
Be healthy.
yes, to be healthy, to protect you from diseases.
Like when we first went to school, I had to get 4 shots on my leg at the same time.
Okay, so you had to get immunizations.
I had to get 1, 2,
See, so that makes sense. You connected it. So, immunizations. What do you think it starts with?
A.
I.
I.
Good.
A.
M.
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 U. M. U. Oh, and M. U. Z. N.
There you go. So, can you both connect the time that you've had immunizations?
Yeah.
Very good.
M.
Mule. M.
M.
E. U. Mew. I'm telling you the letter O.
and
L.
And what if you hear the word
E.
because it has that long
E.
It has that long U, which makes there an E at the end. Good. Okay, go sit down.
I have to take an A.
Okay, we will have to refinish the guided reading groups. Okay, go sit down and keep working. Okay,
I still eat up my nose.
if someone is influential, think of someone in your life. Has anyone been influential? Do we even know what influential means? No.
He said I have to take one during
read this out.
I know, I understand. We will get it done, okay? Alexis just finished hers, so then you can get started on yours after I finish this group, okay? Okay. Influential. Influential means having the power to shape events or having the power to do something. Maybe your moms and dads are influential in your lives because they do so much for you. Okay? Influential. T-I-A-L. Very good. And our last word that we're going to talk about is actually a disease that people used to have back in the day. It was called polio. Have you ever heard of polio? You have? And where have you heard that word before?
My mom told me it.
Your mom told you about maybe someone she knew who had it growing up? Okay, what else?
I heard somebody talking about it at the store in an aisle when we were going to check out.
So you've made that connection before with hearing that word very good. So polio. It was a disease that actually affected people's brains and their spinal cords.
It's a spinal.
It's in your back.
This
Your spine.
Hurt really bad.
Yes, it would. It would affect the way that people could walk. Some people couldn't even walk after it. So let's write polio. It was a disease that they hadn't come up with a cure for a long, long time ago. And so a lot of people, like my mom's teachers growing up, a lot of them had polio, she told me, because they didn't have a cure for it and they didn't know what it was. And so they would have something wrong with their brain and their back, their spinal cords.
Why would their brain get
It just connects, your brain connects with your spinal cord, and it attacks them at the same time. So it just affects your overall body and the way that it functions.
So it goes like this, and then it goes here.
Okay, so today we're going to read about the famous First Lady. So what do you think are going to be some of the things we read about based on our vocabulary words? Maybe we'll read about some presidents who have been assassinated, who've had polio. What else? Kira?
And the girl on the front, that looks like she is famous. She had polio.
Maybe she had polio. That's a good prediction. So we're going to read a book about the famous First Lady. So let's take a picture walk so we can kind of begin to get an idea of what we're going to be reading about, and then we can begin. And when we're reading, remember to look for those vocabulary words and what they mean so that you can connect them to those stories about the grocery store and hearing about your mom talking about it, okay? Awesome.